Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Take the Hill. It's a leadership podcast designed to connect you with influential leaders who are making headway and doing great things within their respective spheres of influence. Today, we are super excited to not only have back Dean Tanzilli from the Roland School of Business, but also a new guest to the show, Jennifer Ferris-Glick, here to talk about the V3 Challenge and a little bit about her entrepreneurial background and some of the cool things she's doing, even within her consulting business. So welcome to the show, Jennifer and Steve.
Great. Thanks for having us.
Well, we are all excited to have you here today. So, Steve, again, Dean, the Roland School of Business. Again, it's always good to have you back. So thank you for being here. And Jennifer, so your background, and we know you are the co-owner of Above the Below. Right? It's a consulting business firm, and you're also a graduate of Seton Hill University. And you have also pretty lengthy experience in terms of operating and launching your own business as an entrepreneur. And yeah. I really like that, again, you give the opportunity and space for the individuals that you work with to really not only just ask the difficult questions, but give them the space and the opportunity to really reflect and think critically about the businesses and the areas that you're operating with. So could you tell us a little bit more just about your background and your experience?
Sure. So I come from a long line of entrepreneurs. Like great-grandparents were immigrants here, and they started their own businesses, had like convenience stores and a manufacturing company, and that has just sort of like been the sort of familial path. So my parents and my sister all own multiple businesses. So, our dinner table conversation was very much about, how are we going to make payroll? Who do we need to hire? That sort of stuff. It was very much a family venture. Whenever I went off to college, I decided that I was not going to be an entrepreneur. I was going to go completely academic. I went to Seton Hill for psychology, women's studies, and art therapy, and then worked in a series of different places, Walter Reed Army Institute of Research. I went to grad school to Bucknell, and I did some experimental psychology stuff. And then I moved back to Pittsburgh and worked at Carnegie Mellon for 10 years. And the impetus for me leaving was, I think I need to own a business. so it came full circle. I had owned other businesses in the time of being in academia and doing the research that I was doing. I had a recycled clothing line, which was sort of fun for a little while. And actually, I had a ton of customers who were Point Park students. Oh, wow. So that was kind of awesome.
Awesome.
And then when I left CMU, my husband and I opened a franchise of the Job Stop. And, that started in 2014. And that's, still going strong. So, I have owned a couple of other businesses as well because, idle hands. So I I was the co-owner of a yoga studio, and then subsequently opened my own place downtown, which is how I ended up meeting Steve. He just kind of walked in off the street and was like, "Hey, here I am." And I'm like, "Great, let's talk."
And I did not come in for yoga.
No yoga that morning, Steve.
No yoga.
No, just him and a student.
Yeah. Probably looking for a cup of coffee, but okay.
Yeah. So I owned a wellness center, yoga studio downtown. And then once I closed that, I realized, over the years, I've done a lot of helping people with their businesses and never really even recognized how much I actually did and never got paid for it. So, but beyond that, the above to below and the business consulting and all of that stuff really has to do with a deep desire to see people do better, to sort of feel better, to do better, to be more focused, to kind of find their strengths and move forward. And I find that, my business partner and I, we have very different and diverse backgrounds. So it makes it really cool because we get to engage in a lot of different things. And in a lot of cases, you know, for my desire, lifelong journey for perpetual learning, I get to continue on learning new things and doing new things. And I love that aspect of it too. So snip it.
I love it. And I think you illuminated something really important from my perspective, and that is, you know, that diverse background, right? So you came from more of a psychological and research side of things. And I think that probably makes you an even stronger entrepreneur, because again, you know, you can come up with, as we've talked about before, you can have the best business plan, but unless you get in there and actually make it work, right? And you know, you connect with your target, you know, market, and you connect with your employees. Like, I think you bring a lot of additional perspective, and as you mentioned too, like you and your partner have kind of different backgrounds and different perspectives, and I think collectively that's what's make you guys work and be so successful.
Yeah, and I think the other piece to that too is that there's a level of trying to really dig people out, you know, kind of dig people out of the murk and the fluff and the details that kind of bind people up. And so that's kind of one of the other things. My academic background is in cognitive neuroscience research, and I studied learning. So a lot of that influences what I do now too, because it wasn't just like the therapy, psychology piece of it, but it actually was, you know, how do people learn? How do they best learn? How can they best perform? How can they remember things that they couldn't remember yesterday? You know, things of that nature.
Well, you've already raised the collective intellect level of our show, so that's awesome. I love it. So, Steve and Jennifer, tell me a little bit about the V3 Challenge. You know, how did this come to fruition?
Yeah, so Jen and I have known each other for a while, and she connected me with an alum of the university, and he had an interest in giving back to his alma mater. His story is something that I hear quite a bit. He was a guy who was at another few institutions, for whatever reason, didn't work out. Point Park took a chance on him, and Point Park was able to get him to achieve a college degree. And he's went on to law school and has done some great things professionally. And, I was really taken back by his genuine commitment to try to make people's lives better and try to give back to the university, try to give back to our students. And so really the three of us, had this idea of the V3 Challenge. And for me, and I've said this before, we're trying to really change the narrative right now. It's so, doom and gloom and depressing, and to be able to share with our students and with the community that there really are good people out there. There are good people out there. And, this individual is offering $10,000 to somebody that wins this contest. And so for us to get involved and change the narrative that, we can do things to help others, we can hopefully drive economic growth, job opportunities, is a real win. So via our website, v3challenge.com, we are offering a prize of $10,000, and people are encouraged to go and submit video submissions to the website. And, it was really Jen's idea, a little bit less of, what is the business plan? What's your strategic initiatives? What's your P&L statement? We're really more interested in what is your story and how can this $10,000 help change your life, your family's life, your community's life. And we're going to work with really all of these submissions in one way or another. So, yes, there will be one winner. But the hope is that so many of these entrepreneurs, so many of these concepts, we can embed into our classrooms. We can get our students involved and really make it be one of those practical roll up your sleeves experiences that we've really prided ourselves on in our business school.
Right, and just to add to that too, the other piece of this is, the impetus for joining with Point Park was to be able to craft opportunities for the students as well. So, whereas, an applicant may submit their entry to the Vigor challenge, they may not be a finalist, they may not win, but they do have the opportunity potentially to work with the students at Point Park and gain some knowledge where they might be lacking that.
Yeah, and it's really the adage that we hope everybody, sincerely is a winner, right? They come away with something, whether it's, working with Jen and her group on some consulting, whether it's some student projects, whether it's getting our faculty involved in some form or fashion. So, really at the end of the day, we're hoping that everyone that submits a video, gets something, to take home and make their concept, their business, and their community better.
Yeah.
One thing that you guys had said right away, that again, it's not saying that the elements of the business plan aren't important, but I really love the idea that you said that, it's also equally as important as that connection to the community and the region and the individuals that are really going to benefit from, a business being further developed. Why is that so important to you guys?
Well, from a Point Park perspective, I mean, I've always said that, we're located obviously right in downtown Pittsburgh. So I think the impetus is on us to try to help our community and try to make the lives of those that we, touch better. And so we're really focusing in on the Pittsburgh marketplace. And so to be able to try to help our campus, and our campus is Pittsburgh, is a real win. And I think, quite frankly, it's our obligation to do that.
Yeah. And I agree. I think, part of my desire, coming from like a people wellness world, I've done a lot of work with communities over the years. And I think that, there's so much right potential in Pittsburgh. And a lot of people don't recognize that they have the capability to kind of elevate themselves to actually do something like this. It might just be a pipe dream. And I think the idea behind giving $10,000 to somebody, it could potentially be life-changing. It could, there have been plenty of people I've seen along the way who haven't done it in a formal way. And I have to say, I'm one of those people. I can write a mean business plan. I can pull all the elements together. But I don't know that I've ever actually used a business plan to acquire funding, to gain an investor, anything like that. So it's really for above and below anyway, from that perspective, it's very much about the feel of the person, whether or not they feel like, they have a chance. And I think, we're not looking for people who are just like the standard entrants for a business competition. We want diversity. We want people who really want this, but might not have the formal, polished, business plan, the formal, polished financial plan. I want to see somebody who has passion, who has overcome obstacles, who can excel forward and use those experiences to move themselves to the next place.
Awesome. So Jennifer,
and for students, real quick, Patrick, and for students to be inspired by these people, and understand that you can overcome things. And particularly now in this climate, there can be good that can come out of this. And so maybe we're one of the silver linings, to help somebody achieve their dream and in turn, make a positive impact on their community.
So when you guys talk about the typical individual that you're looking for or that you hope would apply, who are they? Who is it out there in the market in the region today that, that you want to see participating in this competition?
Honestly, I want to see anybody apply. We've had some applicants already. I would love to see, something that's not run of the mill. I'd love to see somebody who has, a product that they've created. I'd love to see somebody who just has this tiny little concept of an idea on how to make their community better. That kind of stuff for me is really where it's at. But it comes down to the individual and how passionate they are and how enthusiastic and how much vigor they have in order to kind of move forward in the process.
Nice. So you guys talked about Vigor, right? So that's where the name came from, right? So tell us about the important characteristics within those three V's.
Yeah. So it's Vigor, Vibe, and Venture.
Yep.
Pretty catchy, huh?
We like it.
It's a mouthful. Vigor really comes from how people present themselves, their energy, the feeling that they're coming across, how much passion, how much dedication they have to something. Are they able to be a leader? Do we see them being able to manage people well, right? Vibe is sort of like there's a little bit of a business component to it, but also sort of an energetic component to it. How that also has to do with like the sort of HR of it, right? So, leadership management style. Do we think that do they come across arrogant? Are they humble? Are they willing to learn? That sort of thing. And then the venture clearly is like all of the formal business aspects. So venture would be anything from, how well fleshed out is their idea to if they do have financial projections, what do those look like? Have they already had funding? That sort of thing.
Awesome. Well, once you guys do go through the competition and the deadline is another month or so away, right? And you kind of work your way through narrowing it down to that winner. I think the last question is around, what type of additional resources and support will they get from both you and your team, Jennifer, and the Roland School of Business?
Right. So with my team, we intend to give them a year of mentorships with monthly check-ins. And to kind of help steer them in the direction where they need to go or ways that they might need help. Connect them with resources that we have. We have a really wide network of really quality resources. So, if somebody doesn't have an LLC or isn't incorporated, we can kind of help them with that process and, that kind of stuff. Also with kind of grooming the leadership, kind of bringing it full circle back to the podcast. We can help kind of groom the leadership and help them, determine what their focus is, how they're going to move forward. And then Steve, what do you have?
Yeah, on the business school side, we have some amazingly talented students. And so they can help from all things from social media to marketing, to accounting, to management, to some HR work. So, we're just excited to get our students involved, get our classes involved, even maybe have our faculty lend a hand. We also have internships and co-ops and volunteer opportunities for our students. So, the whole gamut of school of business majors we offer, and our students are really committed to trying to once again, roll up their sleeves and get to work and help these entities. And the one message I would have to those that are thinking about submitting, even if you don't think you're quite ready, do it, right? Do it, because you're going to get something out of it. And it might be an internship for a student. It might be a co-op. It might be a class that helps you develop a social media plan. It might be a class that really helps you start to frame out a business plan. And those are all wins for not only the entity, but then also our student, because that's some real world experience they can get.
Yeah. And might I add that we use students to actually craft all of the behind the scenes pieces to get this off of the ground. So that was really useful too, giving the students experiences like the design and some of the marketing pieces. So.
Yeah, we've had students who did a wonderful job on the logo. We've had our IT students get involved with the website. We're going to have our IT students help, work on the submissions that get uploaded. So it's just been already a great win for all of us.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, we are super excited to see this come to fruition because I know it's been in the works for some time. It's awesome to see the involvement. And I think most importantly, as you both discussed, the opportunity to really have a strong impact within the local communities. Again, and giving this opportunity for somebody to not only build up their own businesses, but also, influence others, within the community to have an economic and financial impact, and it just all around. Like I said, it's just a significant step forward, and it's exciting to be a part of the process. I know you guys have let me in a little bit on that as well, so I'm excited to be a part of it as well. So we will at the show make sure that we promote not only the podcast, we'll push this out there, but we'll make sure that the v3challenge.com website is shared across our social media reach, as well as referencing on a couple of future episodes as well to make sure, because I know we have about another month or so that folks can still apply and get their submissions in. So we'll keep certainly pushing that for you guys as well. Any final thoughts from either one of you before we kind of wrap things up for today?
I think the only thing I have on the submission process, it really is easy. We've, Jen and her team have made it as easy and as efficient as possible. Once again, we're not looking for tons and tons of information. Quick video, 5 minutes or less, upload it to our website. And once again, we want the focus to be, yes, on the business idea and why you think it's going to be successful. But once again, just tell your story, right? Tell your story, upload the video. The submissions run, we're keeping it open through the end of August. v3challenge.com. Like that little plug there.
I love the plug.
We made it easy, and we're, once again, just really trying to make a commitment and help our partners in the Pittsburgh area.
Yeah, for sure.
Fantastic. Well, I want to thank both of you for taking the time to be here this morning with us. We really appreciate it, and we're super excited to see the V3 Challenge, kind of in momentum and come to fruition. And again, like you said, for our listeners and audience out there, please, like I said, either if you own a business or have an idea, as Jennifer said, even if it's a small one, the application process is really not that intimidating. I've looked through it myself as well, and again, you guys can do it. And again, like you said, this is an opportunity that is really unique and something you should consider doing. So, thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Steve, for being here with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely, and I tell you what, we'll get you guys back on the show soon. Once we get submissions underway and more submissions underway, and maybe again here this fall, we can talk a little bit about kind of what's going on and talk about how the recipients of the $10,000 is managing. How's that sound?
Perfect.
Sounds great.
Sounds exciting. Well, thank you again. Thank you, everybody. And we look forward to seeing you again on our next episode.